Observing Myself as a Critical Reader by Addison Landry. The reader response theory was an effective method to analyze and question the short stories that were read throughout the course. Oftentimes, upon initial reading of a short story, I was not aware of the author's intent. There were a variety of aspects in the writing of many stories that I didn't understand. The reader response allowed me to put the questions that occurred in my mind to paper. After rereading the text, I was often able to answer my own questions that I posed after my initial reading. My favorite part of the reader response theory was the question that asked, how does a second reading change your initial understanding? This question was my favorite to answer because after a second reading, I was usually able to understand the writing in great detail. For example, after reading A and P by John Updike, I understood the sole meaning he was trying to make, where he was attempting to convey the young girl's lack of awareness of general social rules in public. Two extremely useful reading strategies that I used throughout the semester was the analysis of rhetorical devices as well as rereading the text. Within Carver's Cathedral, there were a variety of rhetorical devices that allowed me to fully understand the text. Carver used the title of his writing as a symbolic message to represent a new vision and new life where the narrator entered after having a conversion with a blind man. It is not until the narrator keeps his eyes shut and draws the cathedral that he is able to see beyond the surface to the true meaning that lies within. The cathedral is a symbol of faith, conversion, creativity, and strength, and defines the narrator's transformation throughout the story. Rereading was also of great help to me this semester. Specifically during Sophocles' Antigone, rereading was of great help. As this was a very difficult read for me, reading the piece a second time allowed me to clear up any questions or uncertainties I had during my initial reading. My favorite digital tools application was using the Google Slides to post weekly updates on the Twitter account that we followed. I believe that following modern, up-to-date examples of writing through Twitter posts is extremely effective in trying to understand today's readers and writers. Although readers and writers all share a similar passion for literature, the manner where they find this love is unique. Using the Google Slides was an effective way for the entire class to stay up to date on interesting facts about literature, reading, and writing as a whole. I have learned through this course that the purpose of critical thinking is to achieve understanding, evaluate viewpoints, and solve problems. Critical thinking is the inquiry we engage in when we seek to understand, evaluate, or resolve. I was able to connect my ability to think critically in literature to many of my health science courses, specifically about hot topic conversations such as euthanasia. Learning how to think critically in literature enables me to properly analyze a conversation regarding euthanasia during my health science class. I was able to connect critical thinking to my euthanasia conversation by evaluating the viewpoints of others so I could fully understand the concept of euthanasia. Critical thinking has opened my mind to trying to understand people's opinions in greater detail and has proven to be very effective in many of my science courses. The biggest challenge that I faced during this course was writing my own poem on the Vietnam War. Although poetry was my favorite part of this course, I found it very difficult to write a poem. This may be due to the fact that I do not often write poetry, as it took me a long time to formulate my thoughts and put them into writing. Writing poetry is definitely something I would like to work on and further my writing ability in. And to the right, you can see the poem that I wrote. By far, the most memorable experience that I had during this course were the Flipgrid videos. I think this was a great practice for me, specifically, to work on my ability to speak in front of an audience. Although it was a virtual audience, I believe it was very good practice in order for me to convey my thoughts through verbal language, rather than to just type them on a paper. I believe that the Flipgrid videos have allowed me to become a better overall speaker. I experienced an aha moment this semester when I realized how impactful the power of rereading could have on one's understanding. Prior to this class, I had never really enjoyed reading. I always struggled to fully understand a text. However, after being asked to reread texts, I found that the second time reading a story was so much more enjoyable for me. It allowed me to pay more attention to the details of the story and understand the author's message in greater detail. My new approach to reading now is to read and then reread again to further understand the overall purpose of an author's writing. And this is my works cited page.